So today, or yesterday, I should say, Bernie Sanders accidentally made the mistake of existing again in front of the establishment. You know how much they hate when Bernie Sanders breathes. Sometimes he takes a breath that's a little bit too deep, and they assume that it's because he's racist and sexist. That's what the word on the street is on Twitter. Now, I don't know if you all have been paying attention, but and I don't want to say it's not worth paying attention to, but it is something I need to call to attention because it's irritating. It's really irritating. Bernie Sanders has his issues. Bernie Sanders has his problems. As far as his relationship with the establishment or reasons they have to hate him, they have zero. Bernie Sanders, personally, has ushered in their entire new platform because it became the most popular, it became mainstream, et cetera, Medicare for all, Green New Deal, all that good stuff. That's him. The only reason that the Democrats even have a chance to win right now is because of the platform that Bernie Sanders put forth and made mainstream. Now, with that being said, they pretend as if he hasn't given them damn near everything, to the point where it irritates the hell out of me sometimes how much he's capitulated to them. He mimics their Russiagate rhetoric, which I do not approve of at all. He critiques Assad. He even critiqued Maduro, even though he said he was not for regime change. Same thing with Syria. He said he criticized Assad, but he wasn't for regime change in Syria either, right? So he's kind of towing the line a little bit. Bernie Sanders does a lot of things, a lot of great things, some bad things. One of the things that he is not is racist, okay? Now, you will hear this narrative perpetuated because we heard the same narrative last year about him being sexist all of a sudden, even though his press secretary was a black woman who eventually ended up pretty much stabbing him in the back. That's a different discussion for a different day. Nina Turner obviously being put at the forefront of his campaign, speaking for him as a surrogate. Tulsi Gabbard being at the forefront of his campaign. In fact, many people can make the argument that he treated women in his organization better than he treated the men as far as propping them up, which I don't think anybody has really a problem with. And primarily, these were women of color. Now, once again, there have been arguments that have been made that he sometimes has a problem with black male authority or black male guidance. That's a legitimate argument. But that's not the argument that's being made here. And the argument that is being made by the neoliberals about Bernie Sanders is disingenuous. So Bernie decided that he was going to give his State of the Union address. Some people may think that that is out of the norm, except for the fact that Bernie's State of the Union address has been given by him for the last 3 years after every single State of the Union that Donald Trump has done. Every single one of them. So this isn't new. Now, some people took issue with this because Stacey Abrams is being propped up right now and is giving the State of the Union response. I don't have a problem with Stacey Abrams. I do like the fact that she championed election justice in her Georgia election because it was indeed stolen from her. Whether she will call out the Democrats for cheating, I don't know. Hasn't been put in that situation yet, so I can't say for certain. But I can say that Stacey Abrams and Bernie Sanders are probably on okay terms, and she does not have a problem with Bernie Sanders giving his State of the Union address after her, because that's what Bernie Sanders was going to do. Now, what I do not like is the fact that, let's be very realistic, the Democrats are using Stacey Abrams as a prop. Because of the whole idea of the rise of the black woman within the Democratic Party. Unless you're Nina Turner, unless you're her, of course. God forbid that Nina Turner get the same recognition as a Stacey Abrams or a Kamala Harris. But, she's in the business of calling out both parties, so they don't like Nina very much. And her opinion as a black woman is rendered oftentimes moot because she stands up to them and refuses to allow the Democratic plantation to hold her back. So, Bernie Sanders, obviously, like I said, made an announcement that he would give his State of the Union as per usual. The bots came out of the woodwork. You're racist, sexist, you're racist and sexist, you're sexist and racist. Why can't you go hide away? Why you have to take the attention away? And then, of course, they were getting their marching orders from the establishment trolls, the verified ones, the Niratanas of the world, the Naira Hawks. They were the ones who were egging this line of thinking on. In fact, Naira decided to respond to Bernie Sanders, and Nina Turner let her know exactly how she felt about that. So Bernie Sanders, which is once again, this irritates the hell out of me that they took a tweet about Rosa Parks' birthday and tried to use my race, which I take very personal. Like, I don't even really get to display how angry I am about how often the Democratic Party does that, because I get just as mad when the Republican Party does it. And I can't really display my anger to the degree I want to when both of the parties do that, whether it be a Candace Owens, whether it be a Naira Hack who doesn't really give a damn about black people, but she tries to pretend to in order to get an establishment agenda push. But I'll explain what this is really all about in a second. So Bernie Sanders tweets out, today on Rosa Parks' 106th birthday, we must do more than just remember her lifetime of organizing. We must honor her by working to fulfill her vision of racial, economic, and social justice. Naira Hawk, in response to that tweet, says, you can also remember her by letting a black woman speak tomorrow and standing down. But a black woman is speaking tomorrow. Stacey Abrams spoke. Or she spoke yesterday, I should say. Like, she's going to... I don't understand what the issue is. And apparently, Nina Turner and I are on the same page because, once again, Nina and I are very similar in this regard, where we cannot stand when they try and take our blackness, the Democratic Party specifically and its establishment tries to take our blackness and weaponize it for political gain. Because that's what you're seeing here. Nina Turner says, let her speak. Stacey Abrams is speaking, and it will be magnificent. You do know his remarks are after hers. You do know he will be listening. And you do know he has been giving his own response to the State of the Union for 3 years now. Of course you do. So then Naira, in a very snide way, as you would probably expect from somebody from the establishment, goes on to say, thanks for engaging, Nina. Perception is reality in the media and political business. And yeah, that's what they believe. That's it. You heard her say it. Mind you, I can't remember what I want to say Naira worked for CAP, for Center for American Progress. It's one of those establishment think tanks or media outlets. I can't remember. But perception is reality in the media and political business. That's what they want you to believe. In other words, they want him to disappear. Those are her words, right? Perception is reality. Stop doing what you've been doing for the 3 years out of genuine concern for the State of the Union so that someone else can appear to be more valid than you are, and you can disappear and remove yourself out of the conversation for 2020, because that's what it ultimately comes down to, because you haven't had a problem with it in the last 2 years, but you have a problem with it now. Interesting. He is stepping on her message and the Democratic Party effort. Thank you. Oh, what is the effort? If you're both supposed to be addressing the progressive issues, because now the Democratic Party has rebranded itself as progressive, what's the issue? Because they're going to talk about the same things for the most part, but you're more concerned about the latter part of that. You're not worried about him stepping on her message. You're worried about the Democratic Party effort to minimize his message and his image with the voters who are likely going to be voting for him in all likelihood at this point. It'll probably be, by the end of this thing, a toss-up between Bernie and Tulsi and potentially Kamala Harris. I think Cory Booker's probably going to be going for a VP spot. So she continues to say he could easily have made the round on the evening and morning shows instead, unless he's trying to run as an independent. What? First of all, that was completely disingenuous, right? She's not getting a reaction she had thought she was going to, because Nina's response got like 2.1 thousand likes. Her response got like 70, because she was trying to be snide. She was trying to be a smartass. But what's she talking about the Democratic Party effort? The response to the State of the Union shouldn't be a Democratic Party effort. It should be a genuine response out of concern for the State of our Union, addressing concerns that you had with the speech of Trump, whether it be the fact that he may be disingenuous, whether it be the fact that he hasn't talked about the issues that resonate most with the people that are voting. But it's a Democratic Party effort. She made it clear. Perception is reality. Democratic Party effort. That's what the complaining was about. Nina... Look, y'all. I'm telling y'all, Nina's not playing this election season. Nina continues in response to her by saying, don't bring your foolishness in my mentions, or am I not a black enough woman for you? A tweet honoring Mrs. Rosa Parks has nothing to do with the State of the Union response. What you are doing is starting mess. If you want to have a real conversation about the Democratic Party and black women, call me. Better ask somebody. Now here's where it gets even better. ABC News puts out a tweet not too long ago. Senator Kamala why is this a headline? Can't stand it. I can't stand it. Senator Kamala Harris to deliver remarks on Facebook Live ahead of President Trump's union address this evening. What? Is Kamala Harris not stepping on Stacey Abrams' toes? Is she not undercutting the Democratic Party's effort? Are they going to ask Stacey Abrams, is it fine? I would expect all the same critiques as they delivered to Senator Sanders. But I seriously doubt that. Why? Because Naira made it very clear. It's not about racism. It's not about sexism. It's about perception being reality. Perception being reality, okay? And the Democratic Party effort. Whether it's a Freudian slip or not, that is exactly what this was always about. So then my question to you all is, why aren't they going to address the fact that Bernie has to do a State of the Union? Because he is, once again, far and away the most popular. No, excuse me. At this point, let's be honest, he's the second most popular. AOC is the first most popular. Bernie Sanders is the second most popular. Bernie Sanders has all the name recognition. Bernie Sanders has galvanized your base more than you ever could. Bernie Sanders increased Democratic registrations before y'all plummeted them by cheating him. He is your platform. Remember, y'all worked together. You had to bring him out for a unity tour because you were so worried that you would never be able to garner enough Democratic votes to recover from what happened to you all in the last election. That's your guy. Like, I'm just being very objective about this. But why wouldn't you get him? Because you want to pretend like you care about black people, because you want to elevate black women. But Nina Turner, once again, somebody had responded to that tweet by ABC, said, I fully expect the same shade you threw at Senator Sanders. Talk about Representative Salwell, who also complained. And Nina Turner commented under this morning at 9:11 a.m. saying, right, with exclamation points. And once again, Nina Turner, last time I checked, is a black woman. I'm pretty black too. You know, I'm not as melanated as Nina Turner is, but I'm pretty black. And I don't like it. I despise when they try and weaponize our race. When they try and weaponize, like, we have prejudices against us. We have people who work against us. Remember, the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris specifically elevated Governor Northam. Remember that, right? Kamala Harris's tweet specifically said, oh, he's going to fight against bigotry and racism and hate in Virginia. Remember that. They endorsed him. They said that he was for us. Bernie Sanders did not endorse him. Nina Turner did not endorse him. Progressive black voices, legitimate progressive black voices, never endorsed him. Stop using our plight for your political games. It's old. It's not even working anymore. You can have all the bots you want to that you've done a very good job over the last couple of days creating. We see it. Whatever. Everybody got Kabbalah 2020 in their bios now. They're all back with her again. You know, we've seen it. Okay, it's fine. But you can't have a bunch of white fake bot accounts come to black people such as myself, such as Nina, have your little white passing establishment folk and white establishment representatives and politicians come at Nina and other black politicians who are progressive or other people of color who are progressive and tell us our opinions mean less because we don't agree with you. Because that's not how it's going to work this election. I promise you that. And for every single time you lob that whole, she's a black woman, talking about Kamala Harris, you hate her because she's a black woman, black. Listen, it isn't working. Go to YouTube. Go to Facebook pages. Go to speak to people in person. They don't know who Kamala Harris is. Once they found out who she is, they almost certainly turned the other cheek. She's not playing the black role to win us over. She's playing the black role to tap into the white guilt of older white neoliberals. They're trying to prop her up like Obama. And she knows that black people aren't going to buy into it. Not at large. We've been roasting her, all of us. But Kamala Harris gets to say what she wants to before Donald Trump. But if Bernie Sanders says something after Stacey Abrams to make sure that he's not cutting into her time, make sure that he's not taking attention away from her, making sure the discussion isn't about what he said before Stacey Abrams speaks, but about what she said. And the last thing I want to mention is the fact that they are kind of forgetting the fact that Bernie has to do it online because remember, mainstream media likes to shut him out if he ever wants to get up and speak against the establishment and prop up his policies. And now, of course, mainstream's going to shut him out. She said, make the rounds on morning news. Get out of here. He's running for president. You know he's running for president, which is why I've come out in full force to attack him recently. You're not going to allow him on anymore. Let's be very clear about that. You're going to start shutting him down. The smears are beginning already. The never Bernie comments. Really? Get out of here. There is not one single person outside of like a few neoliberals that I have ever met. And I've been around the block, met Trump supporters, met Hillary supporters. Everybody that I've met from this part of Miami all the way up to West Palm Beach, Jacksonville, and Tallahassee. Not one person, man, I ain't never vote for Bernie Sanders. Like, man, I voted for Hillary in the general, but I voted for Bernie in the primary. And if they didn't vote for him, it was because they didn't know who he was yet. But every one of those, you know how many Hillary people got flipped to Bernie people after? Come on. Let's be realistic here. You're not going to give him that television time, which is why he has to do what he's doing. He's not racist. He's not sexist. He has issues, but let's focus on the genuine discussion about issues with his campaign. Not this. Let's not pretend like he's not an ally, because he is. He ain't a perfect one by any means, but he's more of an ally than these posers pretend they are. Because he doesn't use our blackness to try and divide us and attack other people. When he does speak on racial inequality, by the way, the only reason that the Democratic Party speaks about the prison industrial complex in any substantive way or criminal justice reform, like as a national platform, is because of Bernie Sanders. It's because I was there, I saw it, and I was sitting there with my jaw dropped when I first heard him discuss the prison industrial complex and systemic racism. Like I was there. Remember? That was political suicide once upon a time. See, because back in the day, the Democratic Party liked to compete with the Republican Party about how many more black people they can put in jail than the Republican Party. But then Bernie Sanders changed the conversation, so you all had to emulate it. So how about you stop trying to pretend like you don't need him? You can't take his platform and pretend he had nothing to do with it. Like this is, listen, I'm telling you, your chickens are gonna come home and roost. And people are going to be kind of confused when you say that his platform is trash and he's trash, but then you go and try to run against Trump after you cheat whoever progressive you plan on cheating in the Democratic primary and then use all of his platform and be like, hold on, Bernie Sanders said all this stuff. So why'd y'all cheat him? And then you're going to be stuck with another 4 years of the exact same situation you're in right now. Thanks for watching that segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa. You can donate to our Patreon and keep helping the network grow by clicking on the link in the description below. And also, make sure you join us at JustNForm.com. And finally, make sure you subscribe to us on Roku and be part of the very first independent news network on Roku TV. But more than anything else, always remember, find your balance. Peace.